Can you share
Uh-huh.
some success stories? Where,
Absolutely. I have a million, but I'll share two. The biggest thing that it was just such an inspiring story. Sometimes I feel like I am privy to some miracles. You wouldn't even think that this approach could be that powerful. Food is powerful. So I was contacted by a mother through the foundation who had a 32-year-old son who was advanced stage Parkinson's. See, Parkinson's isn't for older people. I have in the Facebook forum that I'm a member of, there's some 25-year-olds that have just been diagnosed. So he had Parkinson's. He had other comorbidities as well, but his Parkinson's had progressed to where he could no longer swallow. And his doctors had put him on hospice. He was in bed, unable to speak, unable to sit up, unable to swallow. So the doctors basically put him on hospice, sent him home to die. The mother contacted me and said, "Isn't there anything we can do? We're losing him." And I said, "I don't have any idea if this will help you, but here are my ideas." They had to find a doctor, first of all, who would put in a peg feeding tube, which is, it just goes into the stomach. It allows you to be able to administer good hydration, good medication management. And I found for them a ketogenic formula that had MCT oil in it. They found somebody to put in a peg. They started giving him this oil and this formula, which also had good protein sources in it. It's very similar to breast milk, which has very little carbohydrate. It's 70% fat, 20 to 25% protein. And that's what this formula was. Within a few weeks, it was just a couple of weeks, this young man is talking and swallowing and sitting up and eating and working on his computer. It was rather miraculous, actually, that this mother didn't give up on him. She fought to get him the treatment he needed. And lo and behold, I believe it was the good hydration, because he was very dehydrated. If you can't swallow, you can't hydrate. Good nutrition. He was very malnourished. And good medication management. I'm not saying that medications, you can just stop them. No, they're going to need their synthetic dopamine. But it really brought this young man back. And it just inspired me that this mother would just go that extra mile. Another story that I love to share is a gentleman who was 53. He had been a chef, he was an engineer, he had a kitchen garden, he did things like adapt recipes using these engineering concepts. I mean, it was like just brilliant man. But he was in later stage Parkinson's. He was also morbidly obese, well over 300 pounds, and he had significant metabolic health problems. He had high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, depression, anxiety, restless leg syndrome, and he had a huge amount of pain. People with Parkinson's suffer a lot of pain. It's almost like the central nervous system has been hypersensitized. And so he could only walk about 10 feet to his bathroom and back. He was in bed most of the day. When he contacted me to participate in my 24-week study that I did for the foundation that was published in 2024, I believe, he totally understood the diet from the get-go. He said, "Oh, I'm just going to throw out everything that's not a fat or a protein, and that's what I'm going to eat." And he just went cold turkey, full bore, right on the diet. Within, oh, I don't know, a month, he's walking around his home to his backyard. He's using a walker, yes, but he's walking. Within 12 weeks, and he was, I didn't mention he was also fully diabetic. He was on diabetic medications. His glucose, I think his hemoglobin A1C was 12 or 15. It was just, he had so many things. Anyway, within 12 weeks, his biomarkers were all normal. He had dropped his hemoglobin A1C to 6, so it was working its way down out of the pre-diabetic range. He had lost a bunch of weight. I think he lost 60 pounds in the first 12 weeks. He began to wean off all of his medications, his anxiety medications, his depression medications, his blood pressure medication. We were deprescribing medications like crazy. He has pain. He went from 3 pain medications to 1, and he lowered the dose on it, and his pain levels were more like 2 out of 10 instead of 8 out of 10. He was starting to walk around his neighborhood. By the time 24 weeks arrived, he was able to walk a few miles. He was working out at a gym. He continued to lose weight. He continued to improve. He had some tremors still with his Parkinson's, okay, but his medications that he was taking for Parkinson's were better controlled. It was again kind of a miraculous, and I see this story over and over and over. These are not isolated incidents at all.
That was so inspiring. That was so inspiring. And in fact, if you are, what stage is it, 4 or 5 stages, Parkinson's? Uh,
Five
Five
stages.
stages. So if you are,
Mhm.
say, in stage 4 or 5, it's
Right.
it's it's a miserable existence. So you
It
have
is.
nothing to lose if you try. Just try for 3 months the ketogenic diet and see how you feel.
Exactly. And that's what I tell everybody all the time. I tell them, I don't know what this is going to do for you, but why not? Why would you not work on your diet, maybe some exercise? Let's think about adding the MCT oil. Let's be sure your hydration is good. None of us drink water enough. Let's be sure you've got good electrolytes. Let's be sure you've got some good supplement regimens. And let's be sure that your Parkinson's medications are at the right level. So it's a comprehensive approach, which is